Hey y'all, it's Jordan here. So I thought today, if you hear any background noise, it's my neighbors next door. They're chopping down trees and grinding up the tree trunks. Anyways, today I thought I would make this sonic jet that you usually hear in a lot of dubstep. They have a lot of chords that play in between. But I think for this video and the next video, I'm going to show you how to make Sonic Jet 1 and Sonic Jet 2, so that way you can play in conjunction with the two. It's basically a couple saw waves to create that that very, trance kind of chords, followed by scream distortion to beef it up a bit, and FM bass, and a very simple patch on 4 to give it some more high notes in between, but this is what it sounds like. So today I'm going to show you how to make that. It's interesting, but it's basically just another patch to throw in your arsenal of stuff when you're on the road. And it's really nice to go to these patches and just start building stuff. Although I've never been on the road, but maybe one day it will be. Anyways, what you want to do is create a combinator and have a line 2 mixer and make sure that's all hooked up. And just right click on the line 2 mixer and create a blank maelstrom patch. Now for this, it takes out your, I'm going to flip it over, it takes out your main outputs. I'm actually not going to use those, I'm going to use the oscillator outputs. And I'm going to choose oscillator A for the left input and oscillator B for the left input on the second channel. The reason why I don't use left and right, you can do it one way, but I like to measure the levels so that way when I mess with the levels I can blend them easier. So since it doesn't really matter with the modulations or the filters or anything like that, simply because it's just taking the raw outputs of your two oscillators. So what you need to do is for your first oscillator, just take it down an octave and switch this to, you can use a sawtooth or a square for every, for the two oscillators, but for the first one I'm going to use a sawtooth 16, and I'm going to always put up the decay all the way up and the sustain all the way up for both of them. And for the second one, I'm going to choose a square 16. And I'm going to play a few notes. And let me get rid of all this. I'm going to just delete those tracks. Now I want to create just a main track for this, so that way when we play the notes we can hear it a little bit easier. I'm also going to create a track for the maelstrom, so that we have individual parts we can hear what they sound like. So, for the maelstrom, I'm going to play the first oscillator, which is a sawtooth 16. So let's have a listen to this. So, that's what our first oscillator sounds like. And for our second one, our square, what our square sounds like. So if we listen to both, that's what they both sound like. But as I listen to this, I noticed that you can it needs to be beefed up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and create a equalizer. And after this, I'm going to create a unison. And right after that, I'm also going to create a screen 4 distortion. And I want to take out a lot of the low ends because of when you have drums that play in the background, you usually have to take out a lot of the presence with your synthesizers, but not too much, so that way when it hits, it doesn't take away a lot of your synth's power. So I'm going to do a low 30 Hertz cut and bring down the shelf about 100 or so, turn the gain all the way down, Q all the way off. Same one I use for all my tutorials. For parameter 1, I'm going to go about 200 Hertz or so. Turn the gain all the way down, the Q all the way up. Second one, go to 2.5. Around there, turn the gain all the way down, Q all the way up. High shelf. You can do this if you want to, but we don't really need to mess with the high shelf. We're going to do that with the Screen 4 distortion. So when I play this, I notice that there's something wrong. And what it usually likes to do is it likes to route all the main outputs from your filters. And that's not what we want to do. We want to copy our oscillators, just the raw oscillators out. And also do the same thing, just switch them for each independent out. So now if we have a listen, bypass the Screen 4. There's a lot of unison going, and I usually like to turn it about 20, the detune about 20, and set the voices to 4. So that way it's there, but it's not overpowering everything. So right now when I turn on the Screen 4 distortion, there's a lot that goes on with the Screen 4. If I play the notes right now, what's going to happen is it's going to be distorted, and that's not what we want. We want nice and cleanness to it. So I'm actually going to turn it to tube, put P1 and P2 down for now, and mess around with the cut. Put the damage about 40, and now have a listen. It's cleaner, but it's not quite there, so I want to turn up, I think it's either P1 or P2. I want to mess with these two to see which one gives out the most cleanest result. So it was definitely P1 that gave out the cleanest result. So for now, I'm actually going to turn the low on the cut, make sure that it's on. It'll be lit up if it's on. Turn it about, for the low cut, about 11, mid cut about 7, and the high cut about 7. Now you can turn on the body for a nicer, richer fullness or not. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to turn it on just for whatever's, and turn it to type E. Put the auto about 63 halfway, the scale about 64, and the reso all the way off. Now if we have a listen, it's a little bit nicer. I'm actually going to turn the first one down to 90, the first oscillator, and the second oscillator down to 80. So that's a little bit more controlled. So now that we have our Maelstrom side, we're going to actually create a Subtractor. Instruments, Subtractor. Now, I had to mess around with this FM patch a little bit. It took me quite a while to get everything down, but it's nothing too troublesome. The range doesn't really matter. You can turn it up to 12 or 7, just as long as it's not 1. So that's all that really matters for that. Let me look back real quick. Okay, so I set to each oscillator to 8. Because I searched through all these different waveforms to see which one to see which one works the best, and it's actually on the negative setting that they both work the best. Now I have the second oscillator down down an octave, and I think I have the FM, yeah, 3/4, 27. I have the FM amount at 27. So now if we just solo this channel, we'll have a better understanding of how this sounds. Hold on. Something's not working. Why aren't you working? Oh, I know exactly why this isn't working. Simply because I had the wrong tracks selected. So I'm actually gonna turn up the filter all the way to full and put the level about 90. And turn on the second oscillator. That's a little bit better. For the modulation wheel, I'm actually going to turn it up about 32 or 34. So that way when you want to add a little bit more crispness to your synth, you can just turn up the modulation wheel. Make sure for your amp envelope that the sustain and decay are all the way up. Anyway, sorry, I just like to mess with the stuff while I play a few notes. Anyways, after this, we're going to copy the same routine from the Maelstrom. Put an equalizer, a unison, turn that down, 18 or 20, whatever works, 4, and create a string 4, and bypass that for now. And I'm going to copy the same stuff from our Maelstrom part. So low cut, low shelf, about 80 or so, Q off, 200 for the first parameter, gain all the way down, Q all the way up, second parameter 2.5, 585, Q, gain all the way down, Q all the way up. Now I'm going to mess with the high shelf. For the damage, what did I use for the damage? I used the same preset. I used tube with P all the way up. Damage about 40, 42 is good. P2 all the way down. Turn the cut, turn it about 15 or so. Mid about 7, mid about 7. The body reso all the way off. Scale about 64. Audio about 63, 64. And body to E. So we have all of our parts for Subtractor. Now we're going to do the same thing, but this time for Thor. So I'm going to right click, Instruments, create a Thor. I'm going to solo the Thor. I'm going to turn up the range about 12 or 7, it doesn't matter. Let me look back over here, see what I did first, because Thor usually has a lot of parameters you don't want to mess with unless you know exactly what you're doing. Or you can just mess around and see what sounds good. But for the first oscillator, I put a square and I put the PW width all the way up. And I set it to octave, is this octave? Yeah, octave 6. Now, I'm going to play a few notes only for a short minute because it's going to be increasingly hard to listen to this all the time. That's odd. Wonder what's going on. Well, in any case, I guess I'll just create a track for this. Playing some notes and it's not working. Huh. In fact, none of my MIDI is working. So let me bring up my keyboard. That's not working either. That's kind of weird. Why is it locked like that? Oh dear. I don't know what's going on. It should work. It should be going. I'm getting MIDI output. Alright, hold on. And we're back. Okay, so I haven't fixed the issue. I just don't know. Excuse me. I just haven't fixed out what the hell the problem is. So apparently this first oscillator doesn't like to work. It just doesn't work. I can't explain what it doesn't do or whatever. So I don't know why it doesn't work. Anyways, I guess we're gonna continue on anyways. So for the second oscillator in the Thor patch, I'm gonna turn on a multi-oscillator. No, I didn't want to do that for the first one. I want to turn on a multi-oscillator for the second one. I'm gonna turn it to octave 6, and I'll turn it to an octave for the mode, and to tune all the way up. Oh, sorry. Let me slow this. Actually, turn it up another octave. So now that we have that, that sounds a little bit noisy. For the third one, I'm gonna put it on octave 6, and I'm gonna just turn the PW all the way up, and I'm gonna take off the first low pass. For the amp envelope, I'm gonna turn everything up except for the release, even the attack, so that way it fades into it. I also added a unison. I forgot to edit the parameters on this. Turn it to 20. Turn it to 20. Right click, create. You can use a unison or an equalizer for the first one. Doesn't matter. After the equalizer, use a Scream 4 distortion. And after that, use a maximizer. So for now, I'm gonna turn off turn on the low shelf and the low cut. Put the frequency about 100, 105 or so. Q all the way down. Parameter 1, I'm gonna do 205. Q gain all the way down. Q all the way up. Parameter 2, 2.5. Gain all the way down, Q all the way up. High shelf, you can turn it on or off, whatever you want to use. I'm going to put this on tape. I'm going to bring down P1 and P2. And for the cut, I'm going to bring down the low, but boost the mids to about 9, and the highs about 11. The body halfway for the auto and halfway for scale. Reso all the way off, type E. Now if we have a listen. I'm actually going to put up P2 and P1 on tape mode, so that way it puts another filter over it, so it's not super screechy. So I'm going to put the damage control about 40, put the soft clip on, turn the amount all the way up, put the release to auto, take off the limiter, and put 4 milliseconds ahead. That should do it. When I was looking back, I noticed that our second Scream 4 distortion for the Subtractor is not in use. So I'm actually gonna take down the P1 for now and the damage control, and mess about with this to see if we got this the right length. Okay, so we did. We just didn't turn it on. It's on tube, it's on damage control 40, P1 and P2 all the way up. And that about does it for this tutorial. It's a little bit lengthy, and I try to go as fast as I can to maximize our tutorials, but I'm also going to turn down the level on channel 3, which is our Subtractor, sorry, turn it about 80, and for our Thor, I'm going to turn it about 90. Let's have a listen to our jet. So that's our jet. It sounds like a nasty mess, but if you mess around with the levels, you should get something quite nice. So thanks for watching, and actually let me create a note real fast so that way you know what this sounds like. I'm actually going to change the pitch, add automation, create a little slot for that. Go in here, raise it up all the way. Turn on note 3, should be fine, and let's have a listen. I'll try to get it as close as I could to my original patch. And my original patch kind of sounds like this. It's a little bit punchy, and the reason why it's so punchy is simply because of this first oscillator that I couldn't get to work. I don't know why it won't work, it just freaking won't work. So maybe it has something to do with the release or the range. I don't really know. So that's it. Thanks for watching.